It's really amazing to have you join us again today on Rise and Shine, your early morning status. My name is Janice Kobum. Welcome to the show.
My name is Uyane and I'm super delighted to be here. Thanks for joining us this morning.
All right, good morning,
Good morning, Janice.
and hope you slept well. Is the way you shake your head for me right now.
Grateful to be alive this
Yeah,
morning,
definitely.
actually.
That's
Yeah.
just the spirit. Grateful to be alive. And I'm sure that's the story out there for all of you watching us from wherever it is you're watching us from. And of course, you can be a part of the show by joining us on our social media platform. Facebook, you can join us on Facebook. You can join us on YouTube. And of course, you can also join us on our website at spectrumtv.ng. And then you can also be a part of the show by calling the number on your screen as well. We would like to hear from you. We would like to hear your opinion as it concerns all the things we will be discussing this morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, talking about things happening in Nigeria. Of course, that's where we normally start from. All those things that have gotten people talking. Aside from the story of the royal family, that is more like a developing story. Different things happening at different times to make sure that by the 19th of September, she is that's the Queen Elizabeth II now is properly laid to rest. But we'll just follow up on all of that. We'll start off with Nigeria actually, or your state in particular, where if you think that the social media or the internet doesn't have some great impact, then I think that this story will prove you wrong. The video of Mr. Oludare Alaba, a graduate of Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Lautech, Ogbomosho in Oyo State, had hit the internet sometime last week, where he was seen returning his certificate and asking for a refund of his tuition fee for the time he spent in school. And act of frustration. I think a lot of Nigerians thought it was an act of frustration, or rather saw it as an act of frustration. Now, Mr. Laba, a graduate of Agric Extension and Rural Development, had complained about the worthlessness of his certificate following fruitless efforts of trying to get a job. According to him, if he received the fees charged him while in school, he would use it to develop his innate talent. The video sparked a lot of reactions from Nigerians who lashed out at the government for not being able to provide job opportunities for its teeming graduates. But help has finally come to Mr. Alaba, as members of the university alumni have raised a sum of 500,000 naira support to him. Now, in a fresh post on his Facebook page, Mr. Alaba said the Alumni Association raised him a 500,000 naira check. Yeah, great news, more like a relief coming for Mr. Alaba. Of course, when this video hit the internet, a lot of controversies, a lot of reactions. Some people were laughing, but I think that at this point, this is him trying to explain exactly, what happened, even though he had to speak a little bit in Yoruba. But I think he was really frustrated that for the longest of time he had graduated from school, he hasn't gotten any job yet. The certificate hasn't proven its usefulness to him. And I remember him also saying that at some point he was being introduced to ritual activity, but he declined. And then again, I think he has a 70-year-old parent that he sees himself always going back to his parents to go and ask for money, when at his age he's supposed to be the one fending for them and all of that. It was really frustrating actually. But I think that at this point we need to commend his alumni, the what do you call it now, his alumni association for holding fort and standing fort for him. 500,000 naira. He also says that he attended, I think, a particular music talent hunt, but he didn't scale through. So he has this innate talent of singing, and he intends to build on that and go from there. So maybe the 500,000 naira he has been given, he used it to go and build his musical career or something. But I hope it doesn't become a waste at the end of the day.
Really, it's good to start from congratulations and a big well done to the alumni body of Ladoke University that came together to rescue him, as it were. But my thoughts on this story while I heard it is, 500,000. I hope it doesn't go to waste.
That's what I'm
Now,
saying.
there's a lot he can actually do with 500,000. in my best opinion, do not try it out on music. Music is very, very expensive.
Yeah.
So carrying 500,000 naira to lump inside a song that you do not know whether it will go beyond the walls of the studio, you better take that money and invest in a business, whatever small business. If you want to get a shop and start selling provisions or something, but really, if there are any persons around him who can advise him, they should tell him that between us and him, no matter how good he thinks right now he is with music, he shouldn't invest that money in music.
Yeah. And
Really.
again, if he is good in music, I think we should see more of his jobs, even on the
Exactly.
internet.
So he
The
should even use the
same
money to
way.
invest in music. He should look for a way and put his music out there. I mean, it's the internet. It's
Yeah, of
free.
course, yes.
It's just get 1 gig, get 2 gig, put out your music, and that could even speak for itself. But saying you're going to take that 500,000 and go to a studio and try to produce the music, and then you release it, and no, everybody's like, "Who sent Alaba?" Let's not do that.
And then he's coming back again to begin to complain or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, what struck me about Mr. Alaba, and I really do not know why he is not even using that aspect of his life, is that he studied agric extension. And of course, we know how agriculture is in Nigeria today. Everybody is talking agric. You can just have a small plot of land behind you and farm. So it's not necessarily until you begin to use that certificate, to go get a job as an agric extension officer or something. But you can actually start the process in your backyard. You could also get a land or something. I think even this money that he's been given, instead of him to use it for his music,
So he can even
use it to
invest
go
it in
and get a
agriculture.
land. Get a land and begin to plant and practice your agric extension even on the land. And then when other people see that you're doing great with this agric extension thing, I don't know how people behave, when they see that you're doing great with your agric extension prowess. Of course, yes, you definitely get employment or something, or somebody tells you, okay, come and
Even
manage my
more people
farm.
could even get interested in investing in
Of
what he has
course,
done to
yes.
expand it.
Come and
But
manage
yeah,
my farm. Come and do one or two things for my crops. My crops are not doing well. Come and help me. That's the duty of an agric extension officer, to tell
really.
you, where you can get seedlings, to tell you how you can get pesticides, so that your crops do not wear away or something, get destroyed by insects or something. So these are the jobs of agric extension officer. If you know that you went to the school to go and read that kind of course, which I know is more like a very, how do I put it now, feasible course, something that will sell. Better use it, put it into action, put it into work, and see how it comes out for you. And not necessarily collecting 500,000 naira, lumping it in music, in a career that we have not even seen you showcase yourself. A lot of people these days do not even have a penny in their bank account, but they have a little money that they can use in buying data, and then they show what they are worth in terms of music. And we know how those things happen, especially on the internet. Somebody sees somebody and says, oh, this person is good, and then you do covers of people's songs that have blown. Okay, when you do them, you beg people, oh, please help me tag this big artist, and you never can tell where your breakthrough will come out from. And not necessarily you saying that, oh, you've given up on life, and then all of a sudden there's light at the end of the dark tunnel for you, and then you go lump this money into something that you know that is not visible, or something that you know that, of course, you know that in the music industry, especially the kind of music that he wants to sing, which is what do you call it now, how do you put it now? It slips me. But the kind of music you want to sing, you know that you need some kind of connect. You need some kind of people giving you a note and saying, yes, you're doing great. Okay, and if you do not show that kind of powers, then I think there's nothing you're going to use that 500,000 naira for at the end of the day.
Yeah, really, at the end of the day, agriculture should be a better option for him.
I think so
Now,
too.
studying agri extension is one thing. Being passionate to be on the farm is another thing. Because what if you just studied agri extension as a matter of studying in school? Because with agri extension, the opportunities are actually enormous in
Yes.
the agri sector. We've seen that Nigeria is really developing in terms of agriculture. So you will not say that there's been no options of
Jobs.
people, having farms that needed help and all of those things in the course of your entire life in, after graduating from school. So it's some of these kinds of issues always call back for the people to reflect inwardly on themselves, how they've, tried to amass and what do they call it, utilize opportunities that have come to them in previous times, because the options in agric is
It's
enormous.
enormous.
So
It
if he
is.
uses, let's say he decides to invest 500,000, without even having to buy the land, he can rent a land for 2 years and actually plant on it. Now try a myriad of crops and different things that that you can easily process those things after they've been planted and make more money.
Of
At
course,
the end
yes.
of the day, with the age of internet, like now he's one person that has been favored by the use of the internet, so the internet is not going to forget him. So if he leverages on this influence, what should I call it now, this visibility that he has gotten from the internet, and add it to anything he decides to do, the possibility of him gaining more investors and more help is going to be there if he decides to be more effective. But choosing an area of music that is larger than life in this moment from where you're coming to is a loss. So I just believe that at this point, in these kinds of things, I'd also hope that the alumni body will decide to serve as advisors to him, not
Yeah.
just give him the 500,000. We should get to a point where we say, okay, what are your plans? Let us have your business plan. Let's have your goal plan. What do you want to achieve? What do you hope to invest this 500,000 in? Because I mean, this 500,000 naira came from the donations of people in the alumni group, so they should be able to
Help him.
yeah, put him some groundwork to supervise what he's going to do. And let's see, people should tell him the truth. Between music and agriculture and maybe a little bit of business on the side, whatever else you want to do, we think you should do this because it'll be better for you.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's there are opportunities. Agriculture gives you a lot of opportunities.
It's a pity that he didn't look that way. Just like you said, it could be that he was one of those that
Just accidentally studied a course in school.
accidentally studied. You
Yes.
know, those kinds of situations where you say you want to be this and then jam gives you this, and then you don't have a choice just because you want to go to school. You decide to go do it, and then after that, you know that okay, this is not your calling. You don't have a calling in this particular angle at all. But again, let's even look at the alumni association. I think that more than often, these kinds of associations are doing great. Aside from coming back to give back to their different alma maters, we saw the story of Dr. Ozwa at some point that donated a sum of $1 million to the University of
Ibadan.
Ibadan to help their medical facilities as well. We saw that happen, and just that is just one of those kinds of stories that we see on the internet. I know that a lot of alumni these days, they do this kinds of giving back to society, more like their corporate social responsibility to their alma maters, and it's really commendable if we can look back and see, okay, so this classmate of ours is not doing well. Sometimes when they talk about reunions, a lot of people do not want to go to reunions, because one of the things that happen during your reunions is more like I'm coming to show off my what do you call it now,
The things
my
I've gained.
cars, the things
Yeah.
I've done, the things I have achieved, and all of that. So a lot of people stay away from such kinds of activities. But I think that away from just giving back to alma maters and trying to help the school authorities in providing some basic amenities, I think if we begin to see alma maters look back to see, okay, so this particular person was our student, or this particular person was our friend and is not doing too great, we can actually step in and try to ameliorate whatever it is the person is going through. It's really commendable, I must say.
Yeah, big congratulations to Mr. Alaba there. We do hope that when next we'll be hearing, about him, it's going to be a good story of, okay, he invested well, and he did well with what was given to him.
Definitely.
Yes. Well, we're going to move on from that story now. We see in Anambra representing Anambra South. senatorial zone on the platform of the Young Progressives Party, YPP. Senator Ifeanyi was on Sunday attacked by unknown gunmen at Nkwo, Enugu Junction in Njikoka local government area in Anambra State. Now, Senator Uba escaped death by the whiskers on Sunday when assassins unleashed a barrage of bullets at his convoy, which resulted in the alleged killing of his aides, including 5 police escorts in his convoy. Now, according to eyewitnesses, the convoy was ambushed by heavily armed men who opened fire on his convoy from all directions. Some of his aides were killed, including some police officers. At this moment, we see people just running helter skelter there in that video, and we even know, we see as a follow-up that yesterday the flag bearer for the Labour Party had actually come out to decry this attack on Senator Ifeanyi. It's good to see that he was, like it's well written, he escaped by the whiskers yesterday. We do not know, in a season where we're getting closer to the general elections. It calls for more security consciousness on the part of every person pop up every now and then. So people have to be more careful. Losing about 6 police escorts is quite a number. The loss is too much for both the police force and the families of these people that will be losing their breadwinners, their brothers, and all of that. But assassination on Ifeanyi, alleged now assassination. I mean, that's something that happened in broad daylight, and it's being reported now. But we do hope that the security agencies in Anambra State have been able to swing into action, and proper investigations will be done to salvage the situation. More like nab one person. Let's know what this is about. Like we say in the Nigerian parlance, who sent you? We need to know. Investigations really need to get on the way.
Yeah, definitely. It's really a pity to see that happen to Senator Ifeanyi Uba. And just like you said, of course, the Nigerian police have said that they've swung into action to try to find exactly who those behind this particular dastardly act were or was. And if you look at that particular video very well, they didn't come to joke at all. They decided to assassinate Senator Ifeanyi Uba, and a spokesperson of his was reacting to this particular incident, and he said that if not for the bulletproof car that the senator had used, that means senator would have been a gunner. But you ask, away from even the senator now, what can we make out for even the common Nigerians? How much do we have to be able to afford a bulletproof car? Is it everybody that can afford a bulletproof car? Those that were not in the bulletproof car, the police people, they were killed, 6 of them. Those are people's husbands, those are people's fathers. They're breadwinners of different families. And what can you make out of those families today? Okay, so even if the police is saying that we're swinging into action, I think that Nigerians demand more than just swinging into action. Let's know those behind this act. Let's know the reason why they decided to assassinate this person. It's a question that we're asking for. And of course, we saw tweets from the presidential candidate of the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, also, talk about this. He says we've got work to do to ensure that safety and security returns to a dear country. Now, these are some of the press statements we keep hearing. And then he announced that the attack on the convoy of Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Uba stands condemned. My condolences go to the families of those injured and killed in the attack. I share my sympathy with the distinguished senator. May the souls of the departed rest in peace. So it doesn't go beyond just coming to Twitter to, say that we condemn. What is being done? I know that we are going to talk a lot more on security issues in this country, but look at what is happening. Why? Senator Shehu Sani says the deadly attack on Senator Ifeanyi and the killing of his aides is unfortunate, tragic, and condemnable. But these are just what we get to see. I know that the president hasn't said anything yet. Even somebody was attacking on Senator Shehu Sani's post yesterday on Twitter and said, why is he so forward to condemn? Why not wait for the president to condemn first? We know that the president hasn't said anything yet, and he's supposed to be, I think, in Imo State today. And from stories that have been said, conversations, IPOP has also come out to say, look, there has to be a sit at home today just because the president is also coming. So all of this security hitches and breaches, I think that we need to do more. We've talked about these issues time and time and time again. What is the government doing about it? We're hearing Boko Haram the other way up north, terrorists up north. We are hearing unknown gunmen in the southeast, and even the IPOP in the southeast. What is really happening? How do we even begin to maneuver out of such situations? And when you talk about the kinds of insecurity we are finding in this country today, I think that there were also conversations that linked to the fact that if we have this level of insecurity in the country, what will we now make out of the 2023 elections? Isn't it going to border on the 2023 elections or affect it in some way? We have not even started. Campaigns have not even started in earnest, and then we are having all of this play out. It's really terrible, I must say.
Yeah, when it's been a while since we had like back-to-back reports of attempted assassinations. So when we have these kinds of things being re-emerging on the scenes, it's a deplorable situation. We hope that the general elections doesn't become, a bath of something else. All we want is to transit from this government to the other. It doesn't really get to the point where we need to carry guns and ammunition to get that done. And in terms of whether the president has released a statement or not on the attempted assassination of Senator Ifeanyi. But well, these other people are political elites, and maybe they have one or two personal relationships with them. When the public relations department of the presidency decide it's time to send your
The point
messages,
is, we don't even need
it's
the
not,
president
yes,
to come out and
those are
say
not
this
the
is
issues.
condemnable. These are not the issues.
Nigerians know
We
that
need
this is
more. We need
condemnable.
action.
True
Okay,
that.
we already know that the act is
It's
condemnable. So
condemnable.
coming on Twitter and putting up all those things, oh, just to show that you commiserate with, the families of those that were killed, or you commiserate with even Senator Ifeanyi, it makes no sense. If you ask me, we need actions. We need a situation where those things are nipped in the bud.
Yeah.
We need a situation where we can say that we are going into the 2023 elections and we are not scared of anything. Now, these are situations, okay? They say that, okay, so there will be what do you call it now? There will be security deployed to every state to try to guard against such incidences and occurrences during the 2023 elections. How many security people do we have? How many policemen do we have? Look at it. We are even having situations with police service commission and the Nigerian police force, talking about who is supposed to recruit corporals and who is not supposed to recruit corporals. So these are conversations that are making it on the front burner, and that we want to go beyond just going on Twitter to go and say we condemn. We need actions. Anyways, we'll just take a breather now and then head straight to the news brief desk, and afterwards, of course, Rise and Shine will definitely continue with different other stories making it on the conversation.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by cross them. Our governor, we have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross examination.
Legally Speak every Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. for Legally Speaking. A knowledge of global
as of government, Secretary General,
voting for Spectrum TV to recover 45 seats.
Good morning. This is your morning news brief on Spectrum, live from Uyo. I am Uyai Aniakan. We begin with the federal government as it has inaugurated a committee to provide concrete measures to safeguard train passengers and railway infrastructure across the country. A statement by the Federal Ministry of Transportation said the 11-man committee was inaugurated by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Magdalene Ajani in Abuja. Custodial center in 3 states of the country would be completed by December of 2022. Aregbeshola, who made this known to journalists after a facility towards the 3,000 ultra-modern capacity custodial center in Karshi, Abuja, said upon completion of the project, inmates not in suitable facilities would be moved there. In another development, the National Association of Nigerian Students, Southwest Zone, has announced the commencement of a protest on the Lagos-Shagamu Expressway. According to the association, the protest was organized as a result of the lingering strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities after the students passed a vote of no confidence on the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, and his education counterpart, Adamu. In politics, the European Union has cautioned politicians in Nigeria to tone down hate speeches and any form of behemity of West African states. ECOWAS Ambassador Samuela Isopi gave the advice at the official closure of Phase 1 and launch of Phase 2 of the EU support to democratic governance in Nigeria in Abuja. We move now to the foreign scene where Queen Elizabeth II's children yesterday carried out the traditional vigil of the princess around the coffin of their late mother in St. Giles Cathedral, Edinburgh. The symbolic move, which sees 4 people position themselves at each side of the coffin to stand guard for a short time, was performed by King Charles III alongside his 3 siblings, the Princess Royal, the Duke of York, and the Earl of Wessex. And finally, in sports, Women's Super Eagles season will begin on Friday after last weekend's fixtures were postponed following the death of Queen Elizabeth II. The funeral of the late Queen will take place at 11 a.m. on Monday, September 19th at the Westminster Abbey. We will have details of these stories and more in our news at 12. I am Uyai and can we head back now to Rise and Shine. Do stay with us.
Government for Spectrum TV to recover 45 seats.
A knowledge of global businesses, economic activities, a new wave of the stock market, forex market, cryptocurrencies, and NFTs.
creates new dynamics towards emerging market millionaires and billionaires. From the dot-com era to the oil booms, the fundamental news drives the market. This is Business 360, taking you to the business around the globe. Join us from 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. weekdays, exclusive on Spectrum Television. Business 360, your prism to world businesses.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by Muslim. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also Abiola. Who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my lord.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. for Legally Speaking.
All right, welcome back. It's still Rise and Shine. Of course, we will continue to rise and shine on this end, and we hope that's the same story there over for you as well. But you know, you can also be a part of conversation by joining us on our social media conversations that has been ongoing. We just came back from the tables of the news brief, where we get to hear things happening in Nigeria and other parts of the world. Yes, we have spoken about trending issues, of course. The story of the graduate of Ladoke Akintola University of Technology who returned his certificate and has gotten some form of relief. Of course, his alumni has come in to help him out with 500,000 naira to help him get started. And of course, we talked about the story of the attempted assassination on the senator in Anambra State, Senator Ifeanyi Uba, where 6 soldiers or 6 of his escorts, police officers, were killed in the process. Of course, like we always do in Nigeria, we say that the situation is condemnable, but beyond being just condemnable, we need to see action from the government to try to stem the tide of insecurity in the country. And now we'll move over to another story. Before we are being joined by our security expert, we will be unraveling and telling us more on how we can begin to curb some of those incidences in Nigeria. Let's look at what happened to Lagosians yesterday, Monday. Of course, they woke up to some very bloody flood, and some very parts of Lagos State was flooded yesterday, and we all heard that a particular house, was also submerged, and it took the assistance of emergency management team to be able to rescue, I think, nine of those people. Of course, the early morning rainfall, which lasted about 4 hours, caused floods in many parts of Lagos communities and forced motorists and road users to wade through gridlock and flooded roads to get to the respective destinations and handle their businesses. Frustrated citizens posted pictures and videos on social media showing roads overtaken by flood. Such road, of course, included the Marina Road. Of course, I think, okay, this is not Marina exactly, but the Marina Road was shown to where cars were submerged in water. Estate also in the highbrow Ikoyi area was also yes, this is the marina now where cars were being submerged in water. It's quite pathetic, to see these things happen in Lagos State. Of course, we've talked about this situation over and over again, asking that the government should, as a matter of urgency, begin to find channels where this water can actually pass through and not necessarily destroy properties worth millions of naira. And also, our happiness is that lives are not lost in the process, but then again, properties are being lost, and we see that even sources of livelihood is being lost as well. But I think that I also saw a tweet yesterday. I hope that we can share that tweet where the PDP presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, was all in towns and villages in Nigeria, like other places around the globe, confirms this. So beyond just saying that government is not, creating channels for waters to pass through, and then he now says this is a clarion call that non-governmental organizations must equally hearken to and place the focus on their advocacy on sensitizing the vulnerable public on how to manage and mitigate disasters of global concern. Now, this is of global warming. This has gone beyond just saying that government provide channels, provide good drainage system where water can actually go through, or just saying that residents of different areas should make sure that they clear their gutters, they clear their environment to make sure that the water passes. This is a situation where it is calling for global concern. It is more like a global concern because of the mitigating factors against climate change and global warming. So you find out that some situations, I think we complained about that, in Uyo here, especially in Ibiakuran here, where the rain started, I think on Saturday and went even into Sunday, and it just rained the whole day. So we are seeing situations where the rain is even coming down more than usual these days, and it is non-stop. So for Lagos State, they had like 4 hours non-stop torrential downpour yesterday, and that is what caused this kinds of havoc.
Yes. Well, in recent times, flooding has become like a global menace. We've seen it affect several countries, and it's good to know that at this time where we want to share the blame equally, it's something that is happening globally. The fact that, like the People's Democratic Party flag bearer rightly said, is a climate change issue that is affecting nations the world over. And then of course there's what governments can do, providing the drainages and all. But then we've seen in the past week how past few weeks the vice president pushed conversations with regards to climate change and how it's affecting Africa, and we've come to see that Africa actually does contribute the least to climate change issues. All of the emissions that is giving room to climate change, Africa is actually contributing the least, but it's actually the worst hit with regards to some of these kinds of things. Well, we see that the vice president now, Yemi Osinbajo, is pushing conversations in forums where help can come to Africa to ameliorate this particular issue. It's a sorry situation. You're having lives lost in their thousands, in their numbers, because I mean, if you take 9 here and another 2 here, another 10 there, the numbers are actually rising in every state and in some other countries, as it were. But Lagos has been seriously hit in recent times, the rain for this year has actually affected the Lagosians. I remember, I know I have some of my family members in Lagos in a day and time like this, and we're seeing a time where the economy is actually really crunching, and there's you need to everything for car parts is double the price that it used to be. Having your car being submerged in water for several hours, it's not even good for the car itself. So you're going to have people leaving from here to the mechanic workshop because one or two things gets, bad as a result of your car being, sitting in water for a long period of time. This is something that we'd actually say we will commensurate with the good people of Lagos State, because this is like massive loss. Imagine the house that was already sinking with, like about how many ladies inside the house. If the emergency agencies team did not come, it might have been a story of 9 people were actually lost. And you're having this water sweep into people's residential homes. Even businesses are losing out because, I mean, if the water rises to the threshold where it can begin to flow into buildings, you're seeing that property, things are getting lost in the process. But it's good to see that the National Emergency Management Agency has said its personnel have rescued some of the residents and, of course, continue to work assiduously to maintain a lot of respite with regards to the flooding issues that are happening around the nation.
Just like you talked about the vice president, pushing conversations around climate change in Africa and seeing how we can begin to bring succor to Africa in terms of climate change. Of course, we are the worst hit, but I think that away from that, while we are waiting for this international, assistance for Africa, we as Nigerians, we need to start, to push these conversations even further, and also look for ways that we can begin to mitigate against, the issue of climate change. What are we emitting? All those fossils that are being emitted. Sometimes we've been told that instead of driving cars, there are even cars that today are not even roadworthy anymore. They continue to emit carbon dioxide in such a way that is very, very detrimental to the health of even human beings. So let us begin to see how we can begin to remove those kinds of cars even from our roads. And then again, when you talk about oil explorations, are there no better ways we can explore our oils, without necessarily causing damages? When we talk about oil exploration, we go back to even the Niger Delta, where their water body is not even good anymore. Things are dying, fishes are dying, aquatic life is being lost, and all of that. And then it causes land degradation as well. So these are some of the things that will continue to cause the kinds of global warming that we are seeing and climate change mitigations that we are seeing today. So even as we wait for the vice president to begin to push those conversations on international fronts, let us see how we can ourselves begin to find ways to mitigate against these things, because we are the ones suffering it. Look at what's happening in Lagos State. It could also happen in other places. I think sometime last week we talked about the one that happened up north, where a particular bridge was cut into two, and I don't think that the federal government or the state government at that level, has been able to build another bridge. So you find people have access route now to other states. Let's not forget that particular bridge, like we said, borders around 2 or 3 states or so. So as a matter of urgency, let us see how we as a people, we can begin to find ways that we can begin to ameliorate some of the issues that we are having in terms of climate change and global warming. That's what I just, feel that we should do, because we don't want a situation where we see rain come down just 4 hours. And aside from that, so let's not also overlook the need to also create more drainage channels for the water bodies to pass through. Let us also not forget to also, clean up the drainage systems. If you go to a lot of places now, you find out that the gutters have become a dump site for a lot of communities. Let us see how we can begin to clean our drainages. These are little ways that we can also help ourselves come out of whatever situation we are facing actually.
Yeah, well, at this point, we will be moving to, our conversation for the day. There's been a lot of uproars rising out of the coffers of the Nigerian police force. We see that that there's been news about some recruitment crisis, hitting the Nigerian police force and a lot of security related issues around the nation, but an elites getting attacked and all of those things. It still brings a very big cry on the state of security in the nation. We know that in recent times we have seen the IGP of police now come out to say, oh, Nigeria is actually, gaining grounds in the fight against insurgency and banditry and terrorism in Nigeria. And we hope that we do not leave the forest and bring the fight to, the streets where the common man is on every day. So yesterday, in the course of this week, we have seen the battle between the Nigerian police force and the leadership of Police Service Commission becoming messier. There's a lot of back and forth as to who should be carrying out the employment within the service. We'll be having a conversation this morning with our guest who's already on standby.
Like Oya has said, of course, our guest is DME Saka. He is a public affairs analyst and also good morning, DME, and thank you so much for being part of our conversation.
It's nice to be here. Sorry about the glitch.
Okay, so I think a better place to start will be what is really happening. What's the situation between the Nigerian police force and the Police Service Commission? Because there seems to be some kind of back and forth in who is supposed to, recruit constables, who is supposed to recruit other, recruitments ongoing in the Nigerian police force. So we'd like to have like a snippet of that issue. What is it exactly? We've had situations where constables have been recruited for as long as possible, but coming out to the fore, this conversations coming out to the fore gives room for worry.
Well, without sounding needlessly critical of this administration, it's the modus operandi of this administration that they put the cat before the horse. I remember at some point the government set aside certain sum of money for community policing even before the idea was even kicked off. And you probably would have expected a government that has at least 3 to 4 sons. The Minister of State of Labor is a certificate of Nigeria. The Minister of Works is a certificate of Nigeria. The Vice President is a certificate of Nigeria. He's a professor of law. So you probably would expect, and you have Jackson General of the Federation. That's a General of the Federation who is also a son. Expectedly, you expect these people to have, this deep understanding of law, functionality, and what have you. But now say this mess in the public shows that probably the government is uncoordinated and probably they don't know what they're doing. Away from that, the issue, what is going on between the Police Service Commission and the General of Police is just pure egocentrism or ego tripping or ego contest. Because it's not rocket science, it's cast in stone, it's spelled out there in black and white. The Police Service Commission, by law, by constitution, is empowered to see to the recruitment, the welfare, the remuneration, the disciplinary measures of the Nigerian police. When it comes to the human resources of the police, recruit constables across the country, the IGP needed to, advise the Police Service Commission or demand for such, and the Police Service Commission will go about it. It's simple. But in the case where the IGP gets powers that it doesn't have to himself, you start wondering what is happening.
Okay, but the point is,
police is meant to uphold. There is police that is meant to uphold the law, and the leader of such institution is probably the one probably going against the law. How do you ensure public safety?
Okay, now the portal for recruitment was open some few days ago, where the Police Service Commission said Nigerians can portal, but at some point that was put on hold because, of course, the same issue of who is supposed to recruit and who is not supposed to recruit. So what can we say about this?
Okay, well, let me just replicate what happens in the army. Can the chief of army staff recruit into the army? No. You have the board, the army board that does such a thing. And so you now ask yourself, why would the IGP, where is the constitution in the IGP? I think section 217 to 216 that captures, the 2115 to 226 that empowered the IGP to recruit into the police. So what is that? So you ask yourself, what is happening? Why this anomaly? Why do people have to create nuisance value to government because they just want to make the headlines, or out of in a bit to, or while exhibiting knowledge gap of their jobs or functions or powers? The Police Service Commission did the right thing. I believe it was suspended because of the infighting or the back and forth between the Police Service Commission and the IGP.
But don't you think that there should be some kinds of synergy? The Constitution should approve for that, some kinds of synergy between the Nigerian police.
In this administration, where the president forwarded a name to the Senate for confirmation, President and APC government appointed the DG DSS, nominated Magu, forwarded Magu's name to the Senate, to an APC controlled Senate, the Class Circulate Senate, and the DSS for this same government indicted Magu. So it's not today that these agencies of this government has been at crossroads with each other, and it's DSS against NIA. So it's been a government of chaos. So that there's no synergy. It's an indication that the person in power is not running in hard on his men, or putting them in order, because both all institutions, or the head of the Police Service Commission and the IGP, are meant to work for the same man, who is Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief. We take orders from him, we report to him, the country.
Is he frozen?
Yeah.
Okay, I think he's back on. Can you hear us?
I'm back.
Okay. We see that. Oops. What's the fate of things? We don't know if it's frozen or not at this point. It's the situation with the Nigerian Police Force now and the PSC is really bordering on who has the powers to call the shots. But we see that the Act of 2001 actually puts, the responsibility of some of those activities that are currently in contention on the lap of the PSC. So why is the DIG and all the other members of the body going forward? Promotions and every other trainings that should be done has been stalled until this brewing what do we call it? The controversy is being sorted out.
Okay, now the question is this: you appoint somebody as IGP, and is there exhibiting chronic knowledge gap on his powers and functions as IGP. And it's still enough. Because if I employ you, I hire you to do something, and you're working against my vision, you're working against my set goals, I probably will take you out of the team. I don't see why this should be an issue, because it's like you said, like to end that the Police Service Commission that's empowered by law to do these things, and it begs you, probably brings you to fall, brings you to start speculating the credentials or the qualifications of the IGP. If what is written with a man take his time to go through the police act and understand it. I'm wondering how the guy will probably see a high-profile case assigned to his office and read the statement and understand it. If the simple functions of the Police Service Commission, I can break that into 8 highlighting into it cannot be an
Another thing that we need to even talk about is the fact that, we have really commended the IGP, Kali Baba, for some of the things that he has done, in trying to purge the Nigerian police force. So him coming out to say that the recruitment process should be his call to shoot, to make, maybe, do we think that that is also a way of him trying to curb some of the excesses of the Nigerian police force? Because we have some security operatives that are conniving. So we have seen the IGP come out in recent times to do and even sack some or relieve some of their duties because they erred. So is it a question of him trying to cleanse the Nigerian police force, that he has decided, okay, let's do the recruitment process, because the PSC has been doing this for the longest of time and we are not?
Well, it's not just about the Police Service Commission. It's not about putting the Nigerian police or purging the Nigerian police of bad elements. We want the Nigerian, because whether we like it or we need more policemen, Nigerians and the police. But I have taken a drive around the police academy in Ikeja, and I saw cadets there. One of the periods up in there different from the ill-trained Nigerian policemen we have out there. I saw people which, unless the guy has genetic mutations or issues, that looks as old as my father. I've seen people that the limbs are not straight, and those are the requirements you need to join any regimented service. These are things that you say, what in essence, someone I'm driving at. The recruitment process is unhealthy and below expectations and below standard. Even the recruitment process of the Nigerian police is below the level of Boy Scouts in Nigeria. And that's the truth. And this is me saying it out there and being bold about it. So it's not about going up against the Police Service Commission that will bring about the cleaning up or purging of the Nigerian police of bad element, but the people in the Nigerian police, the personnel in the Nigerian police, over time has made themselves teachable, and they resist what decency when it comes to learning and operation.
Okay, I think we let's move away from ordering on a recruitment process, even as we move on to the 2023
and really,
elections.
let's hope that we have a smooth recruitment process so that we have more people get into the police force. We just talked about the fact that we're coming up on the general elections, and we are at a shortfall with the hands we would have on deck to work during the elections. So it's even good if this whole controversy is sorted out and people who are willing to get into the Nigerian police force are being employed and trained, as necessary to be able to carry out the duties, of the force, as it were. Bob has come out to say that there should be a seat at home, as they're expecting the president of the Federal Republic today in their state. But then they're coming out to give an opposing directive that will see that that visit should come to a standstill. And I think there's even like a threat to life on the president. Misa, what are your thoughts? These are serious security.
Of course, there are serious security breaches, and even though the governor, what's his name now, Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, has come out as issuing such threats, and at some point they decided to call off the seat at home. But what do you think about these threats, these kinds of threats from IPOB, and even the sit-at-home issue? It is becoming too long. Is it that there's nothing the government of Imo State can do to stop what it is that IPOB is doing in Imo State?
But I'm sure he'll fix up and get back to us.
But definitely, the situation in Imo State is very deplorable, in the sense that IPOB is becoming more like a hydra-headed dragon, where they say that for as long as possible, this has continued. this issues of sit at home has continued in Imo State and in some, parts of southeastern states that are associated with this IPOP thing, and it's becoming a problem. Now, if you go to places like Imo State and neighboring, states around those southeastern places, you will find out that life is umbrella the same as compared to other states in Nigeria. We are even talking about fuel increase, okay, the prices of fuel and all of that. If you go to some parts of Imo State or even every part of Imo State today, you find out that people buy PMS for as high as 200 and something naira, for as high as 300 and something naira, and you're wondering what is really the agitation. Now you're talking about secession, you want your own country. What do you even have that can manage, that can fight? Can you hear me, Deyemi?
Crystal.
Okay, so we're talking about IPOP and the threat of sit at home. Of course, we know that the president will be in Imo State today to, commission some of the major projects that have been done in that state. But let's look at this IPOP threat. Governor of Imo State is saying that there's no problem at all. Let's start from there.
Well, I think with what this must be said, and let me put it out there. This is not me in any way endorsing the nuisance that IPOB has been constituting over the years. But let me just put it out there. I don't know why there's still so much desperation to put a seal of legality. I don't know how Opus Udema became the governor. We all saw, yes, it's a pronouncement from the Supreme Court. But I pray and I hope we don't witness such pronouncements again in the course of our national existence, which we do not. So I think over time, Mr. President, trying to, I don't know what that will mean. But now to the issue of IPOP, I laugh at people from Southeast. I laugh at my brothers from Southeast when IPOP says something, and it is people want to against the, especially when it comes to sit at home order, and people are being killed, men, and people will still come out and say it is not IPOP. I'm wondering who gave an order. It's not IPOP that is going about killings. Why is IPOP creating the condition, the atmosphere, But let's backtrack a bit. We had this monster was brought upon us by the insensitivity, by the bias, and the unfaithfulness of this administration. By the time IPOP was going through a series of agitations against that, and they did the right thing by going to court, IPOP hasn't fired a single shot at that time. Meanwhile, you had the killer headsmen that have been killing all to tomorrow, and what they were called was bandits. And we keep telling Nigerians that the word bandits was just a de-escalation verbally. IPOP was prescribed a terrorist organization, and within a week, it was gazetted. Bandits were prescribed as terrorist organization for almost 3 to 4 months. They were still called bandits. It wasn't gazetted. So you look at these templates, and the inequality, the bias, probably it's not enough reason for you to justify any form of malady going on in any part of the country. But these are arguments that we should talk about. These are things we should talk about. Now back to IPOP. I think it's time for, because there is no way to constitute units where residents of a community, give security agencies vital intels to act on. The same thing for criminal activities. They rely on intel, human intelligence to stay in existence. So if the people of Southeast are not sympathetic to IPOP, this agitation will die natural death. But we have people from that part of the country that tells you that even their grandmothers, be careful of how you criticize or you speak against IPOP activities, because the people in town will go back to tell those boys in the forest to come and pick you. So it is the people of Southeast bringing that brought the ants-infested wood into the compound. So if they want this to end, yes, it will end if they start condemning it and not indulging or supporting it.
But what's the
Is there
possibility of even now the people of South is even complain because of the difficulties they are facing in terms of livelihood, but they cannot put a stop to it. Even the government of Hope Uzodinma cannot say no. They have tried, but they can't stop it.
If IPOB orders a sit at home and everybody in the state comes out, I don't think IPOB will be that mad to want to kill everybody. So it's still because IPOB orders sit at home, the people in the state believe they have to respect IPOB and not the government because they believe they are Biafrans and not Nigerians. And they respect it. And those that go against it are seen as straight.
Being able to nib IPOB.
It's not just about it's. I think we should look at it that it's in Anambra and Imo states that IPOB activities is so strong.
Yeah.
But
we've actually seen Governor Soludo do a lot with regards to stemming their activities in Anambra State.
In Anambra State, but in Uzodinma's case, this is a guy that, in fact, apart from the fact that there's IPOB in Imo State, is unpopular. The government, the president, but I think there are better ways to fight this. Yes, are there genuine grounds for grievances in the Southeast? Yes, away from IPOB. And I can quickly cite you one. We have 6 geopolitical zones in this country. And at least, my last count, 5 of these 6 geopolitical zones are at least 6 states. So I think Northwest has 7. Southwest have how many states? 5 states. So even at the National Assembly, for every debate, at every point in time, they need to post, instead of having 18 senators from their region, they have 15. But are they getting about this fighting this injustice the right way? No. You cannot start, because whether you like it or not, you're killing your people more. We started in Borno State, nobody condemned it. And like I would say, as much as IPOB is thriving in Southeast because of support and sympathy it gets from people down there, the sentiment is always in book, either because of tribal sentiments or religious sentiments.
Okay, so let's look at what happened yesterday is it yesterday now or Sunday, to Senator Ifeanyi Ubah, representing some central senatorial district there in Anambra State. What can we make out of that situation? Because it was like a personal affront on Senator Ifeanyi Ubah. The mission was actually to assassinate. What can we make out of the situation in Nigeria, and maybe more like a way forward?
Well, For Senator Ifeanyi Ubah, without me trying to cast aspersion on this person, without me making libelous claims here, I think the police need to look, or everybody talking about it should look beyond either IPOB or just, it's a form of criminality, but the motive behind it might be totally different from, what we're talking about or what we're speculating or assuming. Senator Ifeanyi Ubah is a man of, many shades. So probably is one of these shades that's coming to fall, that's coming out to hunt him or to attack him, either way you want to put it. But it's an act of criminality that's been condemned, and probably when that happens, we probably know why this attack was carried out. But it's a bad one. I'm sorry about people that lost their lives, and so my condolences, sincere ones to their families. I don't know. It just shows you how we have so much non-state actors out there. And I don't know how these weapons get into the country. Our borders are porous. If you've been to the north, you probably won't imagine the border between Katsina and Niger Republic is like a tiny drainage, and that's why people just crossing, and that's why people have cousins and relatives across. It's not peculiar to Nigeria. It's also the same with Uganda and Kenya, but it doesn't mean countries don't man their borders or get serious about their internal security by manning their lockdown of borders. A member of the Federal House of Representatives from Katsina State, probably represented the constituency of Mr. President, said the distance from President's bedroom to Nigeria Republic is 25 kilometers. So that shows you the proximity of, of some of these communities are close to the borders. I think we just need to do more. It's because we have to stop this inflow of arms and light weapons and assault rifles. We have to curb it. Customs needs to do more. And we've been seeing visuals of seizures and the airport. We've not seen people being charged to call for being responsible for such shipments into the country.
Okay. Campaign starting in a couple of days. Today is already, I think, the 13th, and in a couple of days, the campaigns will be starting full swing. The general elections are closing in on us the more, but we are concerned with the spate and the spiraling of these kinds of stories. I was telling Janice this morning, it's been a little while where we heard, a political elite has been assassinated, attempted assassinations. We might hamper the free flow of activities during the polls. What does this mean? And of course, we have other stories of political elites that are, making the rounds still with regards to assassinations. Is there something Nigerians should be concerned about at this time?
I think it is. Pardon my French, my language. I think it's going to be foolish of anybody, or for anybody to go to any campaign ground, and unless you probably get
people don't go out for. If people do not go out for these campaigns, how do you hope that would be able to, that these campaigns will be carried out if people are not able to turn out en masse?
No, I know people will still turn out en masse. Their politicians have very rallying crowds. But for me, as an individual, I don't have a dog in this fight. You obviously will not see me on any campaign grounds. But I pray people will be sensible enough to stay off, because there are some flashpoints where I would like. If election doesn't hold in a ward in this country, as well as presidential election, it nullifies the whole process. But I'm waiting to see how election will hold. I'm trying to see how the federal government want to convince me election is going to hold in somewhere like Kotankora in Niger State. I'm expecting Katsina. Maybe they're going to pay taxes or royalties to terrorists, which they still call bandits.
Yeah.
I don't know, because we are in a serious. There are reports that the military onslaught is gaining grounds and is recording each success. But time will tell. We are used to this. There was a time from 2016 to date, Alhaji Lai Mohammed has been saved. Bukan has been technically degraded, or probably the Nigerian that was degraded at some point. So it's the government doesn't need to tell us. Nigerians will know if security situation has improved or not. But for me, 2023, February 2023 is still far.
Of weapons, light weapons and small arms into the country, if we can actually, guard our borders perfectly well to curb that. But away from that now, what are all the things that we can begin to do as a country moving forward now to
I think I've been sounding more like a broken record, because on every platform I find myself, I'm quick to just highlight these measures. And they're not, it's like borrowing Fashola's word. It's not rocket science. So I'm wondering why they got into government and these things now turned out to be rocket science. There's the first with the service chiefs and theater commanders is to reduce the combative and non-combative collateral damages. And how do you reduce that? That means you reduce engagements of your forces with hostile forces. And what do you do to achieve that? That is the first step to do about it. For us to really have patriotic ideas and patriotic values leading this war on terror, there's a need for us to subject the assets of the military when it comes to people that come to know the collaborators within. That is 2. 3, thank God America has agreed to sell us Apache, because when a lot of us kept wondering who is drafting the scope paper of the rest of the fourth generation of Apache, like Belgium, like Turkey. It's because of ports. and he was sent to their death by their commander, and what is called it, carry the wounded. So they didn't be to buy rights. Yeah, I think 30 psychology also.
We really
And
need
it's not rocket science.
Yeah, because Nigeria can handle the security situation in the country if they want to. And I mean, we're just talking about how that we are boasting of the fact that the Nigerian armed forces is getting a hang of the case, the bandit fell into a river this past recent days, yes, because there was a fallout between them and the Nigerian armed forces. And yesterday we saw that a hospital where in the Sambisa forest, where they usually would treat wounded bandits, was that is not allowing the Nigerian insecurity problem to be salvaged.
And aside from that, let me just add this, because you talked about, if we have somebody at the helms of affairs that is really of call for the president to overhaul the security architecture, and that was why there was the retirement of some service chiefs and then new ones brought on board. So why hasn't the story changed?
And as concise as I can ever be. The person in charge of the command and control structure of the army is C-square. The person in charge of the command, control, and communications, and the inadequacies and the whatever activities going on by the Nigerian military, and that person is not a person than President Muhammadu Buhari, Commander in Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Give them the clear orders and to be done. And if it's given the clear orders and it's not being done, people should be shipped out. If they're not being shipped out, that means they're doing what you want. Simple. The failure, the successes of. So I cannot go against the mandates of my commander in chief. I don't see any. I don't see any officer, any personnel of any branch of the military going against the clear mandates of the commander.
Of course, yes, we know that the commander-in-chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is the president. He calls the shots. And a lot of Nigerians have also said, coming from the backdrop, that he is an ex-general. He should be able, to work hand in hand with the military.
He's an ex-military, an ex-general. It was those were the conversations in 2015. Yeah. Oh, he's been in the military. He understands how these things work. He's not. We can't say there's been a difference.
Yeah, definitely. I think we'll leave the underlining. When they say you're reading in between the lines, we'll just leave that aside for now. I want to say a very big thank you to you, Deyemi Saka, a public affairs analyst at Future.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for trusting me that I'll live up to my word. I promise that I fulfilled it.
Yeah, you did. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
You do have a great day. Anyway, there was something he said, about saying bandits that are using more sophisticated weapons than even the Nigerian military that we are talking about here. But it's a pathetic situation that we have found ourselves, and we just hope that in the nearest future we just have someone that would come with the real power to of course, we've heard stories that there are people sponsoring these things, and that we're going to call and release names. We've heard that we are going to release names of sponsors of banditry and terrorism, and it has never come to the front line. So of course we know that there are names that are factors why these issues won't stop in the nearest future, but we are hoping, because every day we wake up to the news of this life being lost. Tens of thousands of people are displaced and living in IDP camps. Tens of thousands of lives have been destroyed and all of that. So we are talking about human life. So I do not see a situation where a country is actually playing politics with the lives of their citizens. It's really terrible, and we need to put a stop to all of this, I must say.
Yeah, we should put a stop to it. But at this time, we're going to, roll over to some, light-hearted, happy moments. It does not take rockets that are willing to get Nigeria to the place that. Well, first off, I learned a new word, notating. So the act of writing is called, the act of taking notes, it's called notating. And then it's surprising is going to be in a whole lot of trouble.
I'm telling you, because once you write, okay, it's more like you're thinking it through, okay, so it sticks more when you write than even when you type. I'm just thinking about that now.
But
Is
I'm
it true?
thinking
Is
while
it
I'm
true?
typing.
No, maybe when you're typing, you're just typing. It's just like you're looking into one system or the other. But it's
having a hard
and having a hard copy. So when you're having a hard copy, there's an opportunity for you to rule and underline some words that you have just known, you know, and all of that. But it doesn't happen when you're reading soft copies. You cannot, unless maybe highlighting.
Yeah, highlighting. But how many times do we always go back to highlighted ebooks? Like, really, okay, so health tip for the morning.
I think that's very necessary, and especially now that you have a lot of cancers related diseases. There's cancer for almost everything now, and of course like a dietary supplement, you know, to enrich your skin. So maybe you take
supplements, health, your skin health.
Yes.
Yeah, but you know that oftentimes we always have conversations about how we should be taking like vitamin C's and some other smaller enhancing vitamins. But I know that the last I need to take like vitamin C like a little, but I'm not consistent. You know, like they say a woman should have like,
I think the vitamin C that we're talking about here is not even the whitish vitamin C, is the vitamin C 1000.
Yeah,
1000 milligram. Yeah,
like all those water.
Okay.
All right, now so we're going to take our recipe for the day.
For those of you that love finger foods, of course, a cup of hot tea, actually. Yes, I remember. A cup of hot tea and not a hot cup of tea. A cup of hot
choco. But yeah, quote of the day. Politician. Motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. Great quote.
Yeah, more like sounding like quotes that politicians will give to their stalwarts. You know, get motivated, and then
quotes actually does work for them politicians.
I'm telling you, it sounds so political right now. But hey, let's not look at the political angle of it. Actually, let's look at the other side of it. Let's get motivated, and then let's form habits that will keep and continue to drive that motivation. Actually, okay, this is where we call it a day. Actually, my name is Janice Cobham. Thank you so much for being a part. Have a great day.
And my name is Uyai, and I can thank you for choosing Spectrum Television. Thank you for choosing Rise and Shine. Thank you to everyone who was a part of giving us a very successful production. That is all that we're giving you for today. We'll see you tomorrow.